Hey, mixing friends, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com. Quick video for you today. I get this question a lot, and it came up last week in an email about which plugin do you process first when you mix? Do you do EQ first or do you do compression first? And so I wanted to address that in a video showing you the way I like to do it, the order I think you should do it in, and tell you why, and then send you off to the races to experiment on your own. So if you take a look at this mix here that I was working on with our Dueling Mixes members, not a whole lot of tracks, not a whole lot of plugins, but if you sort of pay attention, the top row here, you'll see EQ3, EQ3. These are all the stock EQ in Pro Tools. Okay, so the first row of plugins on any track that has plugins in this session is an EQ. And that will tell you the first part of the answer is I always EQ first. So when I get to plugins, when it's time to bring in some effects, I always grab EQ first if I need a plugin, if it needs help. So the reason being is I look at EQ as a sculpting thing, a tone fixing thing, fixing the tone, which I think is the most important thing of helping the song blend. Your job as a mixer is to balance everything. That's it. That's all you're supposed to do, balance it. And I guess you could argue make it exciting. I think if the song is well recorded and if it's a good song and well arranged, it will be exciting, and your job is to present it well. If it's not exciting, well, it's not exciting. So I look at EQ as the next step. After I've used volume faders, these little guys, this is your first step right here, is just balance it with a volume fader. That's the most powerful tool you got, is volume. Beyond that, EQ is the next most important because it's going to help you change the tone of it. So take a listen, right? I'll press play and I'll just bypass the top row of plugins, and that will get rid of all my EQ in this mix. And you'll hear what happens to the song.
Really known you. So go pack up all your records. Ones I borrowed from your drawer, and all those postcards stuck in novels. Well, we don't need them anymore. I tell you, if I knew you like you know me, maybe we could find a way.
That's EQ. So to me, that's the most important thing. So I always do that first. I clean up stuff first so the tone is fixed. The vocals come forward and they're clear. The guitars sound full. The bass fills out. The kick drum does what it needs to do. So that I always like to put EQ first. Then I put compression. I do compression second. So if you look at the second row, I've got a lot of the BF76 here. I've got the Digidesign other stock compressor there, another BF76, regular compressor, all the way across, right? I compress second because in my mind, now I've got a cleaned up tone, tracks sound the way I want them to sound. Now I want to contain them a little bit, squeeze them a little bit, make them pump a little bit. I want to compress the good sounding tracks now. I don't want to compress bad sounding tracks, right? I want to fix the tracks with EQ, enhance them with EQ, and then compress and pump or whatever the better sounding tracks with compression. So that's why compression is the second row. I'll kick off all the compressors here. Let's get to a chorus here.
Play, and you can take the New England lake you go to. I'll settle with the southern lands, just happenstance that I had ever really known you.
Right, so that you could hear the tone was about the same, but then the life and the pump and the energy kind of died down, and that's the compression. So I hope that helps you think through the way I view the order of plugins. After EQ and compression is when I'll consider reverbs and delays and saturation and de-essing and things like that. But really, usually the question comes in the form of, Graham, do you EQ first or compress first? Do you compress first, EQ first? That's what people want to know. There is no right way to do this. Plenty of my friends do the opposite of this. They compress first, and you'll have to ask them why. For me, makes no sense to compress first. It always makes sense to EQ first because I want to clean up the tone, clean up the tracks, make them sound better the way they were intended to sound with EQ first, and then compress the better sounding track with compression. So, hope that helps you. EQ, then compression. Let me ask you a question now. Do you EQ or do you compress first? Why or why not? What have you found that works? And if you haven't experimented, this is really, really simple. You just start with an EQ, then add a compressor, see what it sounds like, and then flip the order and see what that sounds like and tell yourself what you like best. Train your ears, experiment, figure it out on your own. I will give you a little something, by the way. If you need help with EQ, just check out my EQ checklist. Okay. EQ is so important. As I talk about, I do that first. Go to eqchecklist.com. And what you can do is download this simple PDF where I walk you through the 7 steps I use to think about EQing, how to understand the knobs on the EQ, what they do, how to use EQ in your mixes. That way, it's just there for you to reference anytime you're grabbing an EQ. Super easy, super simple, quick read. It's just a cheat sheet for you. It's just a quick PDF you can download for free. It's my gift to you. Just go to eqchecklist.com and you'll sort of see why I think EQ is so important that I put it first. That's it for today, my friend. Have a great day. Make some great music. I'll see you on the next video.